So here's an interesting story. I don't know if you saw this yet, Christine. But the guy this is in Washington. Oh, I think this is a New York story, but the guy's from Washington State. I could be wrong. Maybe I read it wrong this morning. Anyway, sheriff's officials say a Washington State man led police on a chase across 2 counties because he was bored. The News Tribune, because he was bored. The News Tribune reports that the 30-year-old man had no warrants or prior convictions and had a valid driver's license, so everything is good with him. He's a law-abiding citizen and had been for 30 years. When all of a sudden he took off at an intersection near Olympia late Saturday, so it's not here. After burning rubber, a sheriff's deputy tried to pull him over. The suspect did not comply. The pursuit lasted for more than an hour and crossed 2 counties and 49 miles before the suspect hit a fence and was apprehended. Sheriff's officials say there was no evidence that the driver was impaired by drugs or alcohol. According to Sergeant Dave Odegaard, he said the man appeared to have instigated the pursuit for fun. The suspect has been charged with 3 counts of attempting to elude a police vehicle. What in the hell is going on here? I mean, what are you thinking?
Did he have some major life-altering event that took place beforehand?
There seems to be nothing. They're saying he was just kind of bored. Okay, he was just a little bored. What else is out there this morning? Here's another story that I thought of. This one is local, and I'll give you my interesting take on it. Did you see the Utica businessman who has been charged with arson in a car explosion that he had pleaded guilty in Oneida City Court? Russell Pelly, who's 41 of Utica, pleaded guilty to attempted arson in the 3rd degree and is scheduled to be sentenced on September 19th. Previously, on June 1st, Pelly had entered a plea of not guilty on 2 counts of criminal mischief and 1 count of arson. During that day in court, he found that the DA's office had video surveillance on him. This story is from where? KTV. Video surveillance on him, and the DA's office offered a plea deal, and he accepted it. Utica police say Pelly placed an explosive device on the windshield of a Taylor and the Cook restaurant employee's car at around 9 p.m. on March 25th. Nobody was injured, but it was an explosion outside the restaurant. The city court judge granted orders of protection for restaurant owners Chris Talgo and Tim Hardiman and restaurant employee Brent Boek, I don't know how to pronounce his last name, who owned the car on which the device exploded. A Taylor and the Cook owner had sued Pelly after his roofing company did work on the restaurant. Now, are we noticing what happened here? The guy was a roofer. Now, after doing a roof all weekend long, I understand what kind of frustration you might be able to have if you're a roofer. Roofing must drive people crazy, I would think.
Just couldn't take it anymore.
No, you can't. You're up there, and Christine, you tweeted something out this morning. Remember, roofs aren't white. They're black. So the sun coming down on top of that roof means what, Christine?
Means that the temperature is much hotter.
Think about it, and think about what you sent. Was it this morning or yesterday? You sent me about the temperature of a roof, and what is the difference between a white roof and a black roof, or the hood of a car, a white hood of a car versus a black hood of a car?
Right. That was actually a tweet that I retweeted from the National Weather Service in Memphis. And they were in a story that was attached to that saying that the temperature on a dark vehicle, on a black car, is anywhere from 10 to 40 degrees higher than it is on a white car.
Yeah. So imagine if shingles were white. It would be much cooler on that roof. Or if the felt paper you put on before before you actually have to roof the roof, to put the shingles down, if that was white, it would be a completely different experience. You know, I'm saying it was the heat that might have driven this guy to do whatever he admitted that he did. And, oh, by the way, he didn't admit it until he found out the DA's office had video surveillance. I find it to be pretty interesting. Roofing. I don't know if you know, Andrew, but I did a roofing job over the weekend.
Oh, yes.
Oh, yeah.
It was in the best of this morning.
Yeah. Who's on one?
Rachel
Sutherland.
You're not getting that?
Oh, I am getting that, but I didn't think we had Rachel this morning. This is Rachel Sutherland from Fox News Radio, and it is the Trump and Republican reaction to the Democratic National Convention, which had a lot of craziness yesterday. Good morning, Rachel. Glad we got you after all this morning.
Hey, good morning.
So Trump was wasting no time to just jump on this.
Oh, absolutely. He's saying this is basically proof that that there's a rigged system.
Yeah.
These emails that's going to lead to the ouster of DNC chairwoman Debbie Wasserman Schultz. She's already announced her resignation. And he's saying that really these supporters of Clinton are liking what he's having to say about trade deals, and he seems to think he's going to get the actual Sanders supporters, I should say, into his camp. His challenge is going to be getting these people to the polls. I mean, first of all, they don't agree with him politically overall, and then secondly, they're going to feel disenfranchised and not want to go to the polls.
Yeah, it is what Democrats are saying is that this element of Bernie Sanders voters that won't vote for Hillary is a group of people that probably have never voted before.
Could be.
Yeah.
Could be. And what's going to happen 2 years down the road? Are they going to continue to feel left out of the system and burned? I mean, not to give that play on words, but it's really burned here.
Burned. And what about this Russian thing? I mean, do we first of all, in my quick overview of this whole thing, isn't this classic Hillary Clinton though to come out and say there's a conspiracy, and in this case it's the Russians?
Here's what I think. I think it absolutely. I mean, I think they've pretty much said this is the Russians that they were able to get in. Okay, but that's one part of the
right.
But the emails still exist.
They still exist, right?
Right. I mean, they are what they are. Whoever uncovered them. It certainly doesn't look great that it's Russia that uncovered them. And it's interesting that Vladimir Putin would be kind of wanting Trump and all. I mean, this is just all this bizarre, almost movie script kind of turn here.
Don't you think though that on all of this, is it any surprise that the Democrats were in favor of Hillary Clinton? I'm not surprised by that because Sanders is an admitted socialist. They're saying there's no way he could become the nominee in the same way that the Republicans did with Trump. I wasn't surprised by that. But you didn't have Reince Priebus, the counterpart to Debbie Wasserman Schultz, doing things that we know about behind the scenes. At least they were smart enough to make sure nobody hacked into their emails. Oh, man, if there is something like that, that would be really something, wouldn't it? Well, at the end of the day, this is crazy, and who would have thunk it that it's the Democratic convention that is getting all the craziness. Right, and they're hoping, the Democrats are, that by bringing out former President Bill Clinton tonight, that perhaps they can smooth over some of this. If anyone can, it's Bubba. Yeah. It all depends on what the definition of the word is tonight. Okay. All right, Rachel, good stuff.